भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा। तो प्रभु जी का क्लास शुरू करने से पूर्व मैं प्रभु जी का इंट्रोडक्शन देना चाहता हूँ। तो आज हमारे बीच, हमारा सौभाग्य है, हमारे बीच आज उपस्थित है हिज ग्रेस गौरांग दर्शन प्रभु। तो गौरांग दर्शन प्रभु ये हिज होलीनेस राधानाथ स्वामी महाराज के शिष्य हैं और ये स्वयं एक एजुकेटर हैं, ऑथर है। 30 से अधिक पुस्तकें इन्होंने स्वयं लिखी है और इनका हिंदी में, मराठी में भाषांतर भी हुआ है। जैसे आप अगर अमेज़न पे या तुलसी बुक्स पे या फिर प्रभु जी के वेबसाइट पे अगर जाएंगे तो वहाँ पर आपको गीता सुबोधिनी, भागवत सुबोधिनी, ईशोपनिषद सुबोधिनी, जिससे ये ग्रंथ जो भागवतम है पढ़ने के लिए कठिन जाता है या उसका फ्लो समझ में नहीं आता, तो वो ग्रंथ पढ़ने से हमको बहुत आसान हो जाता है। और प्रभु जी ने स्वयं भी अपने अंडरस्टैंडिंग से जो भागवतम का सार निकाला है उसको भी उन्होंने काफ़ी सारे पुस्तकों के अंदर लिखा है। तो प्रभु जी का इस तरह से ही इज़ अ वर्सटाइल राइटर। वो स्वयं एक डीन है भक्ति वेदांत विद्यापीठ जो गोवर्धन इको विलेज में होता है। हमारा सौभाग्य था वहाँ पर कनाई ठाकुर प्रभु और इस्कॉन चौपाटी मंदिर के तरफ से हम लोग वहाँ पर गए थे और प्रभु जी के अंडर हमने ट्रेनिंग लिया था 2 वर्ष। विद्यापीठ जहाँ पे श्रीमद् भागवतम और चैतन्य चरितामृत की शिक्षाएं दी जाती है और साथ साथ और उसके ऊपर हर एक चैप्टर के ऊपर एग्जाम्स भी होती है। तो 50 मार्क की एग्ज़ाम और उसके अंदर हर क्लास के अंदर 3 से 4 श्लोक को लर्न करके उसके ऊपर एग्ज़ाम्स देना। तो हमारे पहले की बैच में जो हम लोग गए थे उसके पहले वाली बैच में श्रीमान राधेश्याम प्रभु जो हमारे पुणे मंदिर के अध्यक्ष है वो स्वयं वहाँ पर गए थे और उन्होंने जब इसका अनुभव किया, जिस तरह से इतने डिटेल में इसकी पढ़ाई की जाती है, इसको सिखाया जाता है और इतना सुंदर उसका आउटकम है, तो वो देखकर राधेश्याम प्रभु इतने प्रसन्न हुए कि राधेश्याम प्रभु ने प्रभु जी को रिक्वेस्ट किया कि आप पूना में आइए, पूना में सिखाइए, साथ साथ कानपुर, कोलकाता, धारवाड़ और अलग अलग जगह पे जाकर इन्होंने भक्ति वेदांत विद्यापीठ का कोर्स शुरुआत किया। तो इस तरह से ये जो विद्यापीठ का कोर्स है जिसके अंदर भक्ति शास्त्री भी है, वैष्णव सदाचार भी है और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें सिखाई जाती है, तो ये इस तरह से प्रभु जी इसके डीन हैं। गौरांग प्रभु, श्रीमान गौरांग प्रभु के बहुत ही चहीते हैं एक तरह से आप देखेंगे तो। ही रेगुलरली कंडक्ट्स, वो रेगुलर रूप में ऑनलाइन रेसिडेंशियल स्पिरिचुअल कोर्सेज गोवर्धन इको विलेज में बच्चों के लिए, स्पेशली टीन्स के लिए, एडल्ट्स के लिए 7,000 से अधिक घंटे इन्होंने प्रवचन दिए हैं अब तक। तो उस तरह से प्रभु जी बहुत ही स्पेशल है। उन्होंने आश्रमों में, पाठशालाओं में, कॉलेजेस में, कॉरपोरेट इवेंट्स और उसके साथ साथ टेडेक्स, रोटरी क्लब, DRDO, इस तरह से अलग अलग जगह पे जाकर, और कल प्रभु जी का लेक्चर था इंटरनेशनल लिटरेरी फेस्टिवल, यशोदा करके जो जगह है आपको पता होगा, यशवंतराव चौहान का के नाम से, तो पुणे में वहाँ पर प्रभु जी का कल लेक्चर था। और प्रभु जी एक मेंबर है ISKCON बोर्ड ऑफ एग्जामिनेशंस में, जिन लोगों ने भक्ति शास्त्र किया है उनको पता होगा क्या है। और साथ साथ GV में एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव काउंसिल है, मंदिर के पूजा चीज़ों में भी लगते हैं प्रभु जी। तो हमारा बहुत सौभाग्य है कि प्रभु जी आज हमारे साथ उपस्थित है। I'll just end with this line. जब मैं जगन्नाथपुरी में थे हम लोग अभी इस बार यात्रा में, तो प्रभु जी से मैंने निवेदन किया कि प्रभु जी आप पूना क्यों नहीं आते, तो प्रभु जी बोले आप बुलाइए मैं आऊँगा। तो प्रभु जी को मैंने पूछा प्रभु जी कि प्रभु जी आप हिंदी में क्लास दे सकते हैं क्या, तो प्रभु जी बोले अगर हिंदी में क्लास देना है तो मुझे मत बुलाना। क्योंकि उनको हिंदी समझती लेकिन बोल नहीं पाते इतनी अच्छी तरह से। तो आज की जो क्लास है वो अंग्रेजी में होगी। यहाँ पे कितने ऐसे भक्त हैं जिनको अंग्रेजी बिल्कुल नहीं समझती, मतलब ABC भी नहीं आती। ऐसे कुछ है यहाँ पर? तो हम लोग का सौभाग्य होगा प्रभु जी से इंग्लिश में ही हम लोग क्लास सुन पाएंगे। अगर कोई चाहता है, मतलब मैं देख रहा हूँ एक भी भक्त ने हाथ नहीं ऊपर उठाया, इसका मतलब सबको इंग्लिश थोड़ी थोड़ी समझ में आती है। तो अगर किसी को हिंदी में चाहिए तो हमारे प्रचलित फेमस हिज ग्रेस सुजय गोविंद प्रभु, जो हमारे विख्यात ट्रांसलेटर है इंग्लिश टू हिंदी, तो वो बाहर जो पैसेज है पोर्च के अंदर, वहाँ पे जो सोफ़ा लगे हुए हैं वहाँ पर वो ट्रांसलेट कर रहे हैं। अगर किसी को हिंदी में क्लास सुनना है तो आप कृपया करके बाहर जा सकते हैं, बाहर इधर मतलब टेम्पल हॉल के बाहर आप क्लास को हिंदी में श्रवण कर सकते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हरे कृष्णा। तो आइए हम लोग हिज ग्रेस गौरांग दर्शन प्रभु को ISKCON BCEC में स्वागत करते हैं हमारे पारंपरिक पद्धति से। एक बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोलकर, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. I'm very grateful and happy to be amongst all the devotees at BCEC, led by His Grace Kanai Thakur Prabhu, Haladhar Priya Prabhu and all the other devotees here. Thank you so much for being here, and sorry for the inconvenience of coming late. I had another class from 7:30, and also I'll be speaking in English as he announced. So the topic for today's discussion is based on 2.3.19 Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 3rd chapter, 19th shloka. Let's recite it. Svavidvarahoshtrakaraihi samstutah purushah pashuh nayatkarnapathopeto jatuna magadagrajah. Svavidvarahoshtrakaraihi samstutah purushah pashuh nayatkarnapathopeto jatuna magadagrajah. Svavidvarahoshtrakaraihi samstutah purushah pashuh nayatkarnapathopeto jatuna magadagrajah. Samstutah purushah pashuh
नयत्कर्णपथोपेतो
कर्णपथोपेतो
जातु नाम गदाग्रज
श्वविड्वरा ओष्ट्रखरैः संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः न यत्कर्णपथोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजः.
Mataji's. संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः
न यत्कर्णपथोपेतो
कर्णपथोपेतो
जातु नाम गदाग्रजः
विद्वराहोष्ट्रखरैः संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः
यत्कर्णपथोपेतो
न यत्कर्णपथोपेतो
जातु नाम गदाग्रजः
Swa, a dog. Vitvaraha, the village hog who eats stool. Ushtra, camel. Kharaihi, asses. Samstutaha, perfectly praised. Purushaha, a person. Pashuhu, animal. Na, never. Yat, of him. Karana, ear. Patha, path. Upetaha, reached. Jatu, at any time. Nama, the holy name. Gadagrajaha, Lord Krishna, the deliverer from all evils. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. Purport. The general mass of people, unless they are trained systematically for a higher standard of life in spiritual values, are no better than animals. And in this verse, they have practically been put on the level of dogs, hogs, camels and asses. Modern university education practically prepares one to acquire a doggish mentality with which to accept the service of a greater master. After finishing a so-called education, the so-called educated persons move like dogs from door to door with application for some service. And mostly they are driven away, informed of no vacancy. As dogs are negligible animals and serve the master faithfully for bits of bread, a man serves a master faithfully without sufficient rewards. Persons who have no discrimination in the matter of foodstuff and who eat all sorts of rubbish are compared to hogs. Hogs are very much attached to eating stools. So stool is a kind of foodstuff for a particular type of animal, and even stones are eatables for a particular type of animal or bird. But the human being is not meant for eating everything and anything. He is meant to eat grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, etc. Animal food is not meant for the human being. For chewing solid food, the human being has a particular type of teeth meant for cutting fruits and vegetables. The human being is endowed with 2 canine teeth as a concession for persons who will eat animal food at any cost. It is known to everyone that one man's food is another man's poison. Human beings are expected to accept the remnants of food offered to the Lord, Sri Krishna. And the Lord accepts foodstuff from the categories of leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. BG 9.26, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. As presented by the Vedic scriptures, no animal food is offered to the Lord. Therefore, a human being is meant to eat a particular type of food. He should not imitate the animals to derive so-called vitamin values. Therefore, a person who has no discrimination in regard to eating is compared to a hog. And Prabhupada elaborates on camel, then ass, and finally he comes to Srimad Bhagavatam in the last purport, last paragraph, because it's a very long purport, and we started late. We'll just discuss on some aspects that we have read from the purport. Okay. maybe some homework for the next speaker. Okay. So this is a profound chapter, the third chapter of second canto. Out of the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto is the smallest, with only 10 chapters. Next was 12th canto that has 13 chapters. So although the size of the canto is just 10 chapters, the depth is very intense, right? It has very deep and profound topics. And like Bhagavad Gita, it's quite philosophical, second canto. No storyline. At least third canto we have Varahadev's story, fourth canto we have Dharo Maharaj's story, fifth canto Bharat Maharaj's story, sixth canto Ajamil's story, Vritrasa's story, Chitraketu's story, seventh canto Prahlad Maharaj's story. So but second canto no stories. It's thick philosophy, very, very deep, dense philosophy, Virat Rupa, Ashtanga Yoga, demigod worship. So many things are there in the second canto. However, essentially the second canto of Bhagavatam presents various paths, quote unquote, spiritual paths on the Vedic landscape and binds them together to bring us to the conclusion of Krishna Bhakti as the topmost spiritual path. Okay. Akamaha sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So, some people who have a lot of desires, they are called karmis. They worship different devatas and perform various rituals for a higher grade of sense enjoyment. And some people are jnanis. They are too much into philosophical analysis and they aim for liberation. And there are some yogis. They are into meditation. They follow yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, etc. And they aim to get ashtasiddhis or liberation. Right? So they want some siddhic powers, mystic powers. They perform mystic yoga. In contrast to these karmis, jnanis and yogis, there are bhaktas who selflessly render service to Krishna. They don't have any expectations. So, okay, I have some desires, or I want some mystic perfections. I have some inclination to analyze things philosophically. Am I not qualified for bhakti? Should I not perform devotional service unto Krishna? You may have a question. And this shloka answers that question. Akamaha sarvakamo va mokshakama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether you are akama means a person who has no material desires like a devotee. Sarvakamova, a person who has all kinds of desires like a karmi. Mokshakamova, you are specifically desiring liberation like a jnani or a yogi. Whichever category you may belong to. Yajeta purusham param. You can worship the Supreme Purusha Krishna. Okay? Purushottama Krishna. So, whatever may be one's background, whether you are an adult or a child, you are a man or a woman, you are an Indian or an American, or a human being or non-human, one can practice bhakti, one can perform bhakti, one can become an object of Krishna's mercy, undoubtedly, right? So, now, there is a beautiful shloka that describes people from various backgrounds can become devotees of Krishna. Vyadhasya charanam dhruvasya chavayo vidya gajendrasya ka kubjaya kimunama rupamadhikam kim tad sudam no dhanam vamshah ko vidurasya yadavapater ugrasya kim paurusham bhaktya tushyati kevalam na chagunaihi Bhakti Priyo Madhava. Vyadhasya Acharanam. Vyadha, there is a hunter. What acharan does he know? What etiquette does he know? What culture does he know? Still, he became a devotee. Dhruvasya cha vayo. What was the age of Dhruva? Just 5-year-old boy. But by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva at the age of 5, in 6 months, he attained the darshan of the Lord. Right? Vyadhasya Charanam Dhruvasya Chavayo Vidya Gajendrasya Ka. Gajendra here. What Vidya does he have? Which university did he go? Prabhupada is speaking about university education and all here in the purport. Which university did Gajendra go? Was he a Pandit? No. But still took shelter of the Lord, and the Lord came running, flying. Running and flying train we have in Palghar. So the Lord came running and flying to rescue Gajendra, okay, on the back of Garuda. So, Vidya Gajendrasyaka. So education is not a qualification to become a devotee of Krishna. Age is not a qualification or a prerequisite to become a devotee of Krishna. Knowing some culture and etiquette and different cultural backgrounds, that's never a qualification or a disqualification to attain Krishna's mercy. Right? Whatever material assets that you have, they are neither qualifications nor disqualifications for you to enter the realm of pure bhakti. Vidya Gajendrasya ka kubjaya kimunama rupamadhikam kim tad sudam nodhanam. Kubja, was she a beautiful lady? She was a hunchback lady. But selflessly, Kubja offered sandalwood pulp and cosmetics to Krishna. Right in front of Kamsa's palace, by the way. When Krishna was touring Mathura city, Krishna eventually came little close to Kamsa's palace, and on the way he saw this Kubja carrying some ointments, and he asked, "Who are you, O beautiful lady?" She was not beautiful at that time. She was a hunchback woman. But Krishna, when he addressed her as a beautiful lady, he is basically revealing the future that I am going to make you beautiful very soon. Right? So when Kubja offered cosmetics to Krishna, Krishna just held her back. He supported her back with his left hand, and he took his two fingers of his right hand and then lifted like this. Right? So her hunchback became straight. Like this. She became a very beautiful woman. Right? So her selfless service is the qualification, not her beauty. And Sudama, was he a very rich person? Was he a multimillionaire? No. He could not afford even handful of poha also. He had to send his wife to beg some poha from neighboring Brahmanas' houses, and then she brought and tied in a piece of cloth and gave it to Sudama. Sudama took it as a gift to Krishna. Such a poor person. So, being rich is not a qualification or disqualification to become a devotee of Krishna. Anyone can, from any background can become a devotee of Krishna. Kim tad sudam no dhanam vamshah ko avidurasya yadavapater ugrasya kim paurusham. Vamsha. Is Vamsha a qualification? Coming from a great dynasty, right? So, Vamsha ko vidurasya yadavapater. Our Vidura was a Dasi Putra, but he's a great devotee. And Duryodhan was a Kshatriya Putra. Krishna rejected the invitation of Duryodhan and not accepted. He was not even invited by Vidura, but he went. Right? So he just said, I will go to Vidura's home. So your Vamsha, your dynasty is not a qualification to receive Krishna's grace. Okay? Then Ugrasya Kim Paurusham, you know Ugrasena, the grandfather in the Yadu dynasty, was he a very courageous person, energetic person? How many battles did he fight? His own son arrested him. Kamsa kept him in prison. But Krishna came and released him and made him sit on the throne, Ugrasena sit on the throne, and Krishna is submitting to him. Yes, sir, what can I do for you? Right? If Jarasandha attacks or someone attacks, Ugrasena will not come out, Krishna will come out. He protects, but he submits to Ugrasena. Because Ugrasena had devotion. He may not have Paurusha, he had bhakti. Okay? So the conclusion is, Bhaktya tushyati kevalam na chagunaihi bhakti priyo madhava. Bhaktya tushyati. Krishna will be satisfied only with bhakti. Nacha gunaihi, not your material qualifications. Because bhakti priyo madhava. Madhava holds bhakti in your heart very dear to his heart. Right? He loves devotees. He loves those who have sincere devotion unto him. So, the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam presents various spiritual paths on the Vedic landscape, but ultimately concludes that bhakti is the supreme path. Whatever may be your background, whatever may be your nationality or gender or financial status or social status, whatever may be your background, age, irrespective of all that, you are eligible for entrance into the realm of bhakti. Okay? Your material qualities are neither qualifications nor disqualifications to become an object of Krishna's grace. That's the essential message of second canto of Bhagavatam, amidst all these Ashtanga Yoga descriptions and Viratropa descriptions, this and that. Okay. Now, let's come to the third chapter of Bhagavatam. In this third chapter, the title is Pure Devotional Service. Okay. Now, in this chapter, in this current section, the sages of Naimisharanya were expressing their intense eagerness to hear Krishna Katha. From whom? Sota Goswami. Okay. Sutta Goswami was speaking Bhagavatam. The sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Saunaka Rishi, were hearing. Okay. So in this current shloka, they are expressing their eagerness to hear Harikatha. Now this shloka kind of marks the beginning of a series of shlokas where enthusiasm or eagerness to hear Krishna Katha is considered the foremost qualification to become a devotee of Krishna. Okay. Or Shravanam is considered or described as the foremost process to get connected with Krishna. And that's what he says. Svavid varahostra kharaihi samstutaha purushaha pashuhu. People who are like asses or camels or hogs or dogs, they praise people who have no inclination to hear Harikatha. But devotees don't praise. If you don't have inclination to hear Harikatha, if Shravanam is not palatable to you, you're missing something very valuable in life. Okay. So, and Prabhupada goes to analyze the nature of hogs and dogs and camels and asses in the purport. Okay. So, now the shloka ends like this. Nayat karana patho peto jatu nama gadagrajaha. Nayat karana patha. What is karana patha? The path which directs us to Krishna through ear holes. Right? Karana means ears. The ears are meant to hear Krishna Katha. As it is spoken in the next few shlokas, Bile bato rukrama vikramanye nusranvato karana putena rasya. If you are not utilizing your ear holes to hear Harikatha, if you are not pouring the nectar of Krishna Katha into your ear holes, those ear holes are like snake holes. Okay. And if you are not utilizing your tongue to speak Harikatha, your tongue is like a frog's tongue. Right? Sorry, these are not my words. Don't feel offended. Right? I'm not offending you. Bhagavatam is saying this. Okay. So, tongue that is not glorifying Krishna is like a frog's tongue. What does a frog do, especially in monsoon? Frog makes sound, bug, 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 bug. Okay. And frog invites snake. Frog announces its address, sends its GPS location to snake. I am here, come and devour me, come and swallow me. Okay, that's what people who are speaking so many non-devotional topics are kind of doing, right? So the purpose of tongue is to glorify Krishna. Okay, glorify whom? Jatu nama gadagrajaha. What is gadagraja? Gada agraja means Krishna has a younger brother named Gada. He is one of his cousins, one of the sons of the wives of Vasudeva. Therefore, he is called Gadagraja. But he is also called Gadagraja because he is the deliverer from all evils. Whatever evils or unpleasant qualities that we have, Krishna will destroy them if we take to bhakti. As Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita at the end, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Don't worry about your sinful reactions. I will relieve you from all your sinful reactions provided you take my shelter. Mam ekam sharanam vraja, only me. Right? Mam ekam, keep me number one. All other things number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am number one. If you are number one, if I am number one to you, you are number one for me. Right? If I am a VIP to you, you are a VIP for me. Okay? Krishna said, Yogakshemam vahami aham. I will personally carry the burden of maintenance of my devotees. I will not outsource or delegate this responsibility to someone else. Krishna becomes so enthusiastic, so eager to serve his devotees, to protect his devotees, to nourish his devotees, to maintain his devotees, because he loves them, right? If you want access to that privilege of Krishna's grace, serve Krishna without any deviations in the mind. And that's the essential message of second canto Bhagavatam, in fact, entire Bhagavatam. Now, coming to this particular shloka, Krishna is talking about, Bhagavatam is talking about hearing the pastimes of Krishna without praising materialistic people. People who have material aspirations praise materialistic people by neglecting Harikatha. And what is the effect of praising materialistic people? Now you see Prabhupada writes in the purport. First paragraph. After finishing so-called education, the so-called educated persons move like dogs from door to door with applications for some service. And mostly there is no vacancy, right? So to get their daily bread or personal maintenance, many times we search for employment. Of course, it's required, nothing against it. It may be required. It is required, but not at the cost of neglecting Harikatha. That's the main point. Okay. So now, when somebody goes to material masters, does some material service to get some material wealth for the maintenance of the material body, and forgetting spiritual process completely, then the person is actually depriving himself or herself of a great fortune or great privilege available in human form of life. That's essentially what Prabhupada says in the purport, if you have noticed, right, when I was reading. So, let me tell you one relevant shloka. If possible, you can display it also. It's somewhere from Mukundamala Stotra, somewhere in the initial, maybe you can see from 10 to 20, between that it comes. So, exactly reflecting what Prabhupada said in the first paragraph of this purport. Okay. Nathe naha purushottame trijagatam ekadhipe chetasam sevye svasya padasya data ripare narayane tishthatim yam kanchit purushadhamam katipaya grameshamalparthadam sevayai mrigayamahe naramaho Mudhavara kavayam. How many of you know this shloka? You know? Very good. So, you can display it. Nathenaha purushottame trijagatam. Very sweet shloka. Don't worry, it's a long shloka, but you don't take any tension. We'll go through this shloka in next 5 minutes very easily. And the message is also very clear. Nathenaha purushottame trijagatam. Natha, you understand? Hindi word. He's our master. Purushottami, he is Uttama Purusha, best of all men. Okay. Third, Trijagatam, he is the best of all males in all the three worlds. There is no one who is better than him. Nathe naha Purushottame Trijagatam Ekadhipe Chetasa. Eka Adhipe means Krishna is the one and only master of all the three worlds. Forget three worlds. Forget the three planetary systems in this world. He is the master of millions of universes. He is the master of entire spiritual realm and material realm. Clear? Nathe naha purushottame trijagatam ekadhipe chetasa. Chetasa means mind. Sevye svasya padasya data ripare narayane tishtati. Sevye means to render service. Okay? If you render service to Krishna, who is the supreme master of the entire cosmos, even if your service is rendered within your mind, still svasya padasya data ripare, he will offer his own abode to you. You got it? You serve Krishna, he will give himself to you. That's one statement. You serve Krishna in your imagination, in your mind, not physically. Krishna said, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. If bhakti, you offer me Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. But if you are so poor, you don't have patram, you don't have pushpam, there is patram here, there are so many pushpas here, you can't afford to make a garland like this with Shavanti flowers and roses and petals and all that, lilies. You can't afford. So what can you do? Close your eyes and offer all these flowers, all kinds of flowers. You can offer Parijata flowers also within your mind. You can offer that Parijata flower which Krishna offered to Rukmini also and Satyabhama also in your mind. If you do it with sincerity, Krishna will accept that offering. Mental offering, right? Not even physical offering, visible offering, right? So Krishna will reciprocate with devotees even if you offer service to him within your mind. So that is the nature of Krishna. Yeah, the shloka says, Nathena purushottame trijagatam ekadhipe chetasa sevye svasya padasya datari pare narayane tisthati. That abode of the Lord, svasya padasya means the Lord's personal abode, in which the Lord stays, narayane tisthati, that will be offered to you when you render service to the Lord within your mind. You want an example? There is one Brahmana in a place called Pratishtanapur. Prabhupada writes this story. Actually, Rupa Goswami writes this story in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this devotee is very poor. He has no means for his livelihood. But he wants to serve the Lord. One day he came for a satsang program like this. In this satsang program, the speaker is speaking. If you don't have the means, sufficient resources to serve the Lord physically, you cannot offer gold, you cannot offer silver, you cannot offer garlands, you cannot offer clothes, you cannot offer very delicious foods. You can do all that within your mind. If you cannot go to Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Kaveri and get the water from there, at least you can close your eyes, meditate on bringing waters from there and offering abhishek to the Lord. You can do in mind. Then he got an idea. Wow, I wanted to worship the Lord. I don't have the means to worship the Lord, but he's giving me an idea. What is that idea? I can do all that in the mind. When the Supreme Lord Krishna took birth or appeared in Kamsa's prison cell, Vasudeva wanted to celebrate Krishna's birthday very grandly. But he was shackled, iron shackles were there. He could not celebrate. So what did he do? He closed his eyes and meditated on donating millions of cows to Brahmanas. Okay? And that is a service. So when you don't have the opportunity or privilege or facility to render physical service to the Lord, at least do it within your mind. This Pratishtanpur Brahmana also started worshipping the Lord within his mind. Like that, he would just close his eyes, would go to Ganga. In a golden pot, he will bring water from Ganga. Then he will go to Saraswati, Yamuna, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri. He will get all waters. And he will establish a nice deity of the Lord. And he will start offering abhishek of all these, of the Lord with all these holy waters from holy rivers. Then he would offer him Panchamrita Abhishek, Panchagavya Abhishek. And he will also dress him with very exquisite fine garments. He will offer him jewel-bedecked golden ornaments. And he will offer Chapan Bhog. Like that, he is nicely worshipping the Lord every day within his mind. No paraphernalia in front. Within his imagination only, he is worshipping the Lord. One day he wanted to offer sweet rice to the Lord. Very easy to make sweet rice. Close your eyes. Okay. Meditate on as much milk as you want. Okay. You can have all the milk in the milk ocean to make your sweet rice. Okay. You don't have to worry about finance. Okay. Oh, milk 1 liter is 100 rupees, 200 rupees. You don't have to worry. So he closed his eyes, got milk, got sugar, got ghee, got rice, started making sweet rice. He made it very successfully. So he wanted to offer it to the Lord. He wanted to check whether the sweet rice is sufficiently cold or it's still hot. So he touched the sweet rice. It is hot. His hand got burnt. Not in the imagination, really. He made sweet rice in the imagination. He touched the sweet rice, hot sweet rice, in imagination, and his heart burnt really. And Lord Vishnu, sitting in Vaikuntha, he laughed. Right? He was smiling. And Lakshmi Devi is asking, what happened? Why are you smiling? Did he joke or what? Did you do some comedy or what? No, Vishnu Dutas are doing a magic show or comedy show here. Why are you laughing, oh Lord? Then he said, I will answer your question, wait for a minute. He called some Vishnu Dutas. Vishnu Dutas, come here, come here. I have a service for you. What is that service? Take Vaikuntha Viman, go to Pratishthanapuр, there will be a Brahmana who is worshipping me. You will not see a deity, you will not see any worship paraphernalia, but he is worshipping. His eyes are closed. Just bring him here. And Vaikuntha airplane came along with Vishnu Dutas and landed in Pratishthanapuр. And this Brahmana was surprised, what is this happening? And the Brahmana asked, who are you? He said, we are attendants of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. Lord Vishnu called you, please board this airplane. He was surprised. By the way, this is not imagination. This is reality. Okay. Vaikuntha airplane did not come to Pratishthanapuр Brahmana in imagination. It came really. Right? So he boarded the airplane. He is confused. And the airplane took him to Vaikuntha within few minutes. And Lord Vishnu saw. And he explained the whole story of this Brahmana to Lakshmi Devi. And she also smiled now. Okay? And the Lord told, you stay here only. You don't have to go to Pratishthanapuр. You don't have to serve me in imagination anymore. You can serve me really in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, not in the material world. That is the Lord's mercy. Nathe naha purushottame trijagatam ekadhipe chetasa sevye swasya padasya datari pare narayane tishtati. Sevye, chetasa sevye, you worship him, you serve him in the mind. Although you are serving him in the mind, swasya padasya datari, he is a data. He donates you, he offers you his own abode. Right? So, ignoring this, what do people in this world do? As Prabhupada said in first paragraph of this purport, they do the second half. What is that? Yam kanchit purushadhamam katipaya grameshamal parthadam sevayai mrugayamahe naramaho mudhavarakavayam. He said, I am leaving Purushottama. See the first line. Purushottama is mentioned, the best of all men. That is Lord Vishnu. Giving up his devotion. And what am I doing? Purushadhamam. Purusha Adhama means lowest of all people, as Prabhupada describes here. Svavidvara hostra kharaihi. Right? Those who do not take shelter in Krishna consciousness are the process of Saravanam. I am serving such people, Purushadhamas. Yam kanchit Purushadhamam katipaya grameshamal parthadam. Gramesha means they are small landlords. Okay? They are the bosses of some small villages. And what is Krishna? He is the boss of Trijagatam. Right? Purushottame Trijagatam. He is the Natha of all the three worlds. Giving up that Natha of all three worlds who is Purushottama, I am serving Purushadhama who is mere Gramesha. Who is just merely a head of some village or head of some company or head of some institution, head of some office. For what? For salary. Right? Sevye. I am doing seva. Sevye. Sevayai mrugayamahena ramaho mudhavarakavayam. These masters of the material world reject their servants when the servant does not show any ability to serve anymore. But even if you don't have the ability, physical ability to serve the Lord, will the Lord disown you? Never. Even if you do mistakes also, the Lord will not disown you. He may disappear your mistakes. He may disapprove your mistakes, but He continues to remain your master. He continues to own you as His servant. He will excuse your things. Of course, devotees should not do any deliberate mistakes. That's not the message here. But the Lord never disowns us. That's the main point. So, ignoring the service of the Supreme Lord, our Supreme Protector, who is willing to give His own abode for the little service that we do, even in imagination. We are trying to serve material masters for material wealth. Okay? That's what Prabhupada is writing in the first paragraph of the purport. Right? So, sevayai mrugayamaham naram aho mudha varakavayam. Mudha, I am such a foolish person. So, as a matter of necessity, as a part of maintaining your body, you may have to acquire some material wealth, material money to maintain the material body. For that, you may have to accept some material masters, But don't think that this is the life. We have a spiritual master, Guru. We have the supreme spiritual master, Krishna, supreme Guru. Okay? So, our connection with these spiritual personalities in a spiritual way by doing spiritual service is our priority, is our life's goal. Right? When we are too caught up in self-preservation and when we ignore self-realization, then we may have to take birth again. Now, coming to the other aspects in the last few minutes, how long should we go? 8:58. So, the last portion of this is, how can you express that devotion to the Lord? Primarily through Sravanam. That's what is being discussed here. So, when we hear about the Lord, when we engage all our senses in the service of the Lord, when we engage especially our ears in hearing about the Lord, that kind of spiritual hearing will establish a great bonding between us and the Lord. How many of you came to the path of Krishna consciousness by hearing? By hearing about Krishna, from a devotee of Krishna, you have come to this spiritual path. How many of you? Okay, practically major percentage of this room, right? So hearing is our first connection. That's why in the 9 processes of Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, someone has to inform us. These are the qualities of the Lord. These are the ways in which you can serve the Lord. Then we get inspiration. Okay. So, once you hear about the Lord from a devotee, we will be inspired to serve the Lord with all our faculties. Not only ear. We engage our mouth. We engage our nose. We engage our hands, we engage our legs, we engage our mind. We engage all our faculties, God-given faculties in Krishna's seva. Okay. So to continue, somewhat similar, this shloka from Mukundamala Stotra, one more shloka is there. Jihve kirtaya keshavam muraripum cheto bhaja sridharam panidvandva samarchaya achyuta katha shrotradvayatvam shrunu Krishnam lokaya locanadvaya harer gacchangri yugmalayam jighra grana mukunda pada tulasim murdhanna madhokshajam. So here is one shloka that describes how you can engage all your faculties, God-given faculties in Krishna's seva to connect with Krishna. Right? Jihve kirtaya. Use your tongue in glorifying Krishna. Jihve kirtaya. Then the tongue will not be frog's tongue, as described in the next shloka. Okay? Jihve kirtaya keshavam. Muraripum cheto bhaja. Use your mind in serving Krishna. In serving Muraripu, Murari Krishna. Why is he called Muraripu? Because he has killed a demon named Murasur. Okay? So you serve him in the mind, the way Pratishtanpur Brahmana has served. Okay? Then, Sridharam Panidvandva Samarchaya. Use your 2 hands to do archana of Sridhara, Krishna. What is Sridhara? One who holds Lakshmi Devi, Shri, in his heart. Sridharam Panidvandva Samarchaya. Use your 2 hands to serve Krishna. Achyuta kathaha shrotradvayatvam shrunu. Use your 2 ears to hear about Lord Achyuta. How he is infallible in protecting his devotees. Right? So, Panidvandva samarchaya achyuta kathaha shrotradvayatvam shrunu. Krishnam lokaya locanadvaya harer. Use your eyes to see the beautiful form of Krishna on the altar. Krishnam lokaya means see Krishna. Locanadvaya, with your 2 eyes. Harer gacchangri yugmalayam. Use your feet, use your legs to walk to the temple of Lord Hari and take his darshan and serve him. Right? Jighra ghrana mukunda pada tulasim murdhanna madhokshajam. Use your nose to smell the fragrance of tulasi leaves offered to the lotus feet of Krishna. And Murdhanna madhokshajam. Use your head to bow down in front of Krishna. Offer namaskar to Krishna. Just as Krishna said, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Right? Offer namaskar to Krishna. In this way, if we utilize all our physical and mental faculties in the service of Krishna, then naturally we develop a deep bonding with Krishna. Okay? And that inspiration to engage all our senses and mind in Krishna's service comes by sincerely hearing Harikatha. Sincerely hearing about Krishna from his devotees. Sincerely hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from sincere devotees of Krishna. So that hearing enables us to make a permanent loving relationship with Krishna. And that's the main theme of this shloka, right? Nayat karnapatho peto jatunama gadagrajaha. Karnapatha. So, asye srutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam yadyad dhiyata urugaya vibhavayanti. You know that shloka? Where in the third canto Brahma says, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit sarojam asye srutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam yadyadhiyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattatvapuhu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita. When your heart is filled with bhakti, then how will that bhakti come? How will you get those devotional feelings? By hearing Krishna Katha. Srutekshita patho. When you hear Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees, the sound vibration emanating from their mouths will enter your ear holes. And through ear holes, Krishna will enter into your heart. Because Krishna Katha and Krishna are non-different. Therefore, you invite Krishna into your heart through your ears. Right? You invite some guest into this room through the door. Similarly, you invite Krishna into the heart through ears. Ears are the doors in which Krishna can come. And mouth is the door to which Krishna Prasadam can come. All of you are waiting for it, I know. Right? So ear is the door in which through which Krishna enters our heart. Right? And once Krishna enters the heart, you know what does he do? He will clean first. Right? This heart is a seat for so many anarthas. In another shloka, I'm jumping from this shloka to that shloka. So the shloka says, Pravishtha karna randhrena svanam bhavasaroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yathasharat. Pravishtha karna randhrena. Krishna will enter your ear holes. Svanam bhavasaroruham. He will sit in the lotus emotions of his hearts. And dhunoti shamalam Krishna. All the mala of lust, envy, pride, greed, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, which is there in our hearts, will be completely cleansed when Krishna sits there. When somebody offers you a seat, when some guest comes to your home, you offer a seat to that guest. Okay, he came and sat nicely. Another guest comes. You offer the same seat. This person has to move like this and then he has to make the second person sit there. Third person comes, offer the same seat. You just somehow squeeze in the middle and two people are sitting. No, fourth fellow comes, fifth fellow comes, all these people get same seat. What will the first person do? He will get up and go. Right? Similarly, when we are inviting Krishna into our hearts, heart is only one seat here. How many of you have 2 hearts? 3 hearts? 4 hearts? Right? Not hearts on the shet. Okay? Not heart symbols I am saying. Heart, actual heart. We have only one, right? So that is a seat for Krishna. You invite Krishna to sit in the heart, and Mr. Lust comes. You give the same seat. Mr. Envy comes. You give the same seat. Mr. Pride comes. Give the same seat. Okay. Mr. Greed comes. Give the same seat. Krishna will get up and go. Right? So we should understand that this heart is meant for Krishna's pastimes, and we should allow Krishna to sit there, and we should clear all our other guests. Of course, Krishna himself also will clear those guests. Understand, they are always guests only. We should never host them for a longer time. Okay? We should never host the guests of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya in our hearts for a long time. Krishna is a permanent, not guest. Krishna is a permanent resident there. Right? When permanent resident is sitting there, temporary guests should clear the place. Okay? We should put an endeavor and we should pray to Krishna, Krishna, you please remove all these anarthas from my heart. Then that heart becomes place of Krishna's pastimes. After Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu, he made Hiranyakashipu lie on his lap and he just plucked out the organ heart from Hiranyakashipu's chest. And then he examined it. This is my seat. This is my throne. Why did this fellow allow lust, envy, pride and greed to sit here? He just threw it away. And he went and sat on his simhasan. Right? So we need to purify our hearts from all anarthas, and that happens by sincerely hearing Harikatha. That's why hearing is glorified so much here in these shlokas and next series of shlokas, because hearing gives us the inspiration and ability and empowerment to render service to Krishna, to utilize whatever we have in Krishna's seva. So we should take inspiration from hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and hear from bona fide authorized sources. If we hear from other people also, that have different effects. Bhagavatam means scriptures say, Avaishnava mukhodgyaranam putam harikathamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpochishta yathapayah. So milk is very good, nourishing food, but if a snake touches the milk with its lips, it has poisonous effects. Similarly, when we hear Harikatha from authorized sources, that has a purifying impact on our consciousness, and thus, while purifying ourselves by hearing Harikatha, we should engage ourselves in service to Krishna and make our life successful and not become like Shva, Vid, Varaha, Ushtra and Khara. Right? Not become like asses or dogs or any, or what is that? Asses, dogs, hogs and camels. Right? So you can see other characteristics of these animals in the rest of the purport. So with this I'll conclude 9:10 now. Okay? Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.